We've all been there. Maybe it was the relationship you gave your all to, a dream job that didn't work out, an image of yourself you desperately tried to protect. But when it all began to unravel, you were told, just let go. Letting go sounds simple until your heart is tightly gripped around the very thing you must release. In those moments, we are not truly seeking escape. We are yearning for direction, not from the chaos of the world, but from a deeper, timeless wisdom that speaks to the soul. Like I always say, Bhagavad Gita is not merely a scripture, but a timeless compass for the soul. Born on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where from the very beginning of the first shloka it is mentioned, Dharma kshetre Kurukshetre samvetayu yutsavaha. Dharma will prevail on the grounds of Kurukshetra. Letting go is dharma, and following dharma is hard. But that doesn't mean you ever confuse the weight of the crown with the idea of not being born to wear it. I call Bhagavad Gita a human manual, not because it merely tells you the rules, but because it also tells you when to break your rules. Krishna is neither a creator, he's not the destroyer, he's the protector, he's the sustainer. He doesn't believe in rigidity. Krishna is as adaptable for his devotees as they want him to be. He is not at all serious or sad or overwhelming. Neither his philosophy is. Krishna had promised not to fight with weapons in the Kurukshetra war. But driven by the intensity of the battle and Krishna's desire to protect Arjuna and uphold Dharma, he broke his promise. By breaking this promise, Krishna not only saved Arjuna, but also simultaneously fulfilled the desires of Bhishma Pitamaha, who himself was an ardent devotee of Sri Krishna. Pitamaha had vowed to make Sri Krishna take up his arms in the battle. So he did. Krishna does not flinches to change his decisions. He is not like the oak tree that snaps in storms, but like bamboo which bends, sways and does not break. Krishna's power lies not in command, but in understanding timing. When to guide, when to wait, when to act, when to simply smile, when to fight and when to let go. Krishna is called Ranchordas, the one who ran away from the battlefield. During a conflict with Jarasandha and Kalyavan, Krishna flees away. Krishna is God. Why he needs to let go? He can do whatever he wants to. He is also not bothered by what people call him. But still, to avoid bloodshed and unnecessary casualties, Krishna chooses to sacrifice reputation than righteousness. Krishna's withdrawal becomes a powerful reminder that war isn't always the wisest path. Holding on is not always for the good, and being stubborn is not a quality of the wise. Despite possessing divine strength, Krishna chose strategy over aggression, showing that true power lies not in domination but in discernment. He thinks beyond the battlefield, proving that tactics achieve what brute force cannot. So if Krishna, being the Supreme Personality, can let go, why can't you? Letting go of outcomes. The Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2 mentions the most quoted verses of all time, that is verse 47. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhu ma te sangostva karmani. That is, you have the right to perform your actions but not to the fruits thereof. Your focus should be on the duty, not on the reward. Perhaps it is worthy as well of it, because it reprograms the very ways we relate to action and effort. In a society conditioned by result-oriented living, the idea that one should act without attachment to the outcome seems counterintuitive. But Krishna isn't promoting apathy. Krishna is the most empathetic of all. He doesn't care beyond the will of his devotees. Krishna only asks you to not be attached because he is ensuring that the patches of clouds that temporarily cover the sky of your mind are dispelled. Therefore, Gita is the ultimate self-help book because it tells you to believe in yourself and your actions. The modern mind thrives on control. We plan meticulously, cling to identities, and attempt to create artificial outcomes. Yet life, in its mystery, in its full glory, will always refuse to comply with your wants. Thus, you need to let go of control. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 20, it is mentioned, Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashrayah karmanyabhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. We live within our own limitations, conditioned to view everything through the lens of utility. If something has no use for us, we dismiss it. If something can't be controlled, we fear it. So we cling, continue, and control, not out of freedom, but out of a deep discomfort with the purposelessness of it, the uncertain, the unmeasurable. In doing so, we forget not everything good needs a purpose, and not everything meaningful needs to be managed. But letting go takes us into a different reality, where you are not supposed to fix anything because you don't own anything. You just have to let things be. You are detaching from the illusion of control, not your life. You are choosing to let go because you know now that control is not peace and utility is not meaning. Letting go of ego. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 71, it is mentioned, Vihaya kaman yah sarvan pumanscharati nisprihaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantim adhigacchati. A person who gives up all material desires, who lives free from desires, is devoid of false ego. He alone can attain real peace. Why was Duryodhana fighting? What was his motive in forcing such a great war? It is not that important whether the people on his side were bad or not. The important thing was his intention, his objective, the values for which he forced the war. And what were the values for which Sri Krishna inspired Arjuna to fight bravely? The most important value at stake in the Mahabharata was justice. The war had to decide what was just and what justice was. But Duryodhana, on the other hand, was fighting for his ego. He did not want peace because peace would mean surrender. It would mean admitting the Pandavas were right, and his ego could not accept that. Ego needs conflict to exist. When a man is empty within, he becomes aggressive without. Krishna tells Arjuna, give up everything and surrender to me. Come to my feet. This seems to be a statement of great egoism. What greater egoistic statement can there be than to say, give up everything and come to my feet? It is ironic that this statement, which seems so obviously egoistic, even to ordinary minds like ours, does not seem so to Krishna himself. He at least has as much intelligence as we have, right? So that means that he should know it is an egoistic statement. But he says it with such amazing ease and innocence and spontaneity that only a person who is utterly egoless, who is not in the least aware of his me and mine, can make such a declaration. It's not even a question that Krishna himself chooses his devotees. His devotees are as innocent as him, who let go softly, calmly, and have a sense of acceptance of the duality of life, of the other person's free will. It's only when someone drops the viewpoint of the ego, he will cease to be a doer, and then he can only be a player, a mere actor. And consequently, there is no way you will be bound to this world. Letting go of fear. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 20 it is mentioned, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचि नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. The soul is neither born nor it ever dies, nor having once existed does it ever cease to be. The soul is without birth, eternal, immortal, and ageless. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. Fear is born from identification with the body, with the name, with form, but when you understand that you are beyond that, fear dissolves like a dream after waking. Half of the battle starts within your head. A positive mindset yields positive results. The greatest fear in a person's life is death. A person who is afraid of death, afraid of war, eventually begins to be afraid of life itself, living itself. At that time, one is neither alive nor dead. We are just in a limbo, which is way worse. Krishna tells Arjuna there is really no birth and death, that no one is ever born and no one ever dies, that no one kills and no one gets killed. So Arjuna can plunge into war without fear and with abandon, so he can play freely with war. In our cases, we do not let go because letting go feels like erasing who we are. A fear that nothing better will take its place. We are afraid we are making a mistake we can't undo. We do not willingly want to step into unknown. Fear makes it hard to let go. But understand that fear comes from ego itself, while letting go comes from soul. We must realize that whatever is happening right. Even what seems bad has its place. Even the bitter notes have their own melody, because that too is necessary. Without the ache, there be no hunger for joy. Without the opposites, life wouldn't even be possible. Thorns are needed. Without thorns, roses won't seem so beautiful. Ugliness is needed too. Only then does beauty will make any sense. The world exists, that's why liberation tastes so sweet. The beauty of life arises from the harmony of opposites. Krishna accepts this duality. He does not choose one part and reject the other. He accepts life in all its facets. A man can attain purity of mind if he breaks away from his attachments. But it is really difficult to realize that one can remain unattached and innocent in the very midst of relationships and attachments. That one can remain calm and still live at the very center of a hurricane. It is very rare for a man to accept and absorb all the contradictions of life. Grief, heartbreak, betrayal, they all demand release. But our hearts are so slow to loosen their grip. We replay the past, revise it in our minds, hoping pain will resolve if we just hold on long enough. But Krishna is an expert in letting go, and he insists us to let go too. He asks us to be all too human, to bend for love, to fight for love, to live for love, and to let go for love. Does he always belong to the future? He is the icon of Kali Yuga, and Bhagavad Gita is the ultimate manual for Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.